Welcome, everybody. I am your host and queen, Toga Hinigo. Yes, as everybody just starts, yeah. You know, the whole crowd lines up. It's full to the brax, right? And where's my partner? Hey, ho! I'm Titan. Thank you for having me. You mean Tyson, right? No, Titan. Alright, we'll go with it. We have our Colossus, freaking demons, or also watching as massive, towering, mountains, grow eyes out from the sides of them, molding from the sculpted iron that was holding them to the ground. These massive mountains moved steadily, and barely even a foot every single mile, maybe a foot. These things were massive, and overlooked the whole Colosseum. They seemed to power it, engine cores linked up to the sides of them. Even bigger than most of our, gigantic turtles, whatever they were called. I almost forgot them by this point. Right. And we have our people ballot up on the spot. For any of you who wish to bet or sort of send support to one of your favorite fighters, be sure to send them your ballots that way. All right, back into the fight, shall we? Now we send her down onto the massive cauldron that they were standing in. Deku and the king, staring down at each other. Deku cannot meet his gaze, however. The power that he has bestowed, the power that he amassed, was massive. As he looks up to his people, Thank you, all these people, so nice. Yes, this will be my 30th battle in this arena. Oh, however, my final battle took sort of a toll on me, as you could see. My chest used to not open up like this. Oh, what a prankster. Too bad he's, 3 feet in the ground and has a spear through his face. Oh, don't worry. I won't be using any weapons this match. And I see that you chose my old suit. You'll find that it has regenerative capabilities. As Deku looks down to the latex suit that ran all around him, it was tight in every single crevice, very uncomfortable. However, exposed his muscles and made him feel very exposed. Yes, it was very exposing. Don't worry, the females get different ones. That's not what I'm... Okay. He's so powerful. As he looks up to see the garb of the king. His massive, lion's mane around his neck, stringing down to the sides of him. What a cool suit. This is not the time to be nerdy. Okay, analyze his attack patterns. Analyze him. God, he's so cool. No, wait, why am I thinking like this? Analyzing the crowd, everybody rooting for Demon King! Demon King! Everybody in their demon-ass roars. The Demon King sort of took on his demon form. One that was shifted to be massive. One bigger than some of the war turtles that stood around the dusty arena. I wasn't planning to bring this out just yet. However, as he bashes his hand down onto the ground, shaking it, bringing Deku down to his knees. Why am I so weak? He's this powerful. God damn it. He looks up, bringing his head, forcing it up. His neck arched into the sides of it, holding it up, stapling it to the sides. Everybody's watching me. I wonder what they think. I wonder what he thinks. They probably think I'm weak. I can't do this. They're wrong, I think. What's wrong, Deku? Not ready to fight the final boss yet? Not when the final boss is a shrimp like you. as he puts his hand onto his knee and brings himself slowly back up to his knees. Really? Is that so? As he grabs onto one of the chains, pulling it. The ground from under Deku is pulled out from underneath him. As Deku falls down onto his back, letting out some air, he grabs onto the ground and flips himself back up. However, he lands on the back of one of the war tortoises. Tordai! It makes a loud growling noise as it picks him up and moves across the place, bringing along the dust and the desert with it. This was massive, bigger than, even the Demon King himself. Most of the war tortoise sort of walking out of the way of it, hustling their way through. It was their top speed at the very least. Oh, I see, you got lucky! Very cool. Finally a challenge. As the war tortoise stopped right in front of the Demon King. The Demon King looking up to the war tortoise. Deku looked down to him. Maybe this is my chance. He hits the top head of it, as then it screams and then smashes down. Deku looks down to see the massive explosion that just happened in front of it, shaking the arena again. What happened? And then the war tortoise's hand immediately explodes as all this meat ricochets everywhere up on the stands. Everybody screams as it's now it's starting to get interesting. He hears from the dust pile. The Demon King appears in front of him, squatting in the middle of the air. He cracks his neck just for a second, riling up one of his arms back, and lets it loose straight at Deku's face. He stops it right before, like he had done before. We're letting loose of all the air around his hand. This sort of pressure and energy coming from his arm only could be felt by such a higher level being, immediately shattering the air around him. Deku comes back to reality as he opens back up his eyes to find the fist in front of him, grabs onto his mouth, bringing him to the Demon King, and then the Demon King throwing him down to the ground, immediately being shrouded into the ground. The Demon King lays onto him, each punch missing barely, as Deku was able to let it slide off to the side. However, he was in a very tight pinch. How is he so strong? As he catches one of the fists. Oh, you're dead, boy. As then he grabs onto his arm and then pulls him up as his face comes towards the Demon King. He goes in for a headbutt. However, he gets punched by his own hand. As he recoils, he's pulled back in again to be punched again with his own hand. The Demon King then pulls out his left hand. This is starting to get boring, boy. Let's heat it up, shall we? As then a massive fireball starts to occur into his hand, powering up to almost the size of Deku's head, although he could sense the sinister energy coming from the center of it. He throws it at Deku's face. However, Deku barely dodges out the way of it, as it cores through the earth, continuing through who knows how many layers of hell. Deku picks back himself and then bites onto the hand that was grabbing onto his face. The Demon King jumping back up to his feet and puts his hand onto his other, saying, "You little slimy bastard. You're really bringing out the old me now." Deku, as he jumps on, the Demon King won't let him get any ground. Deku picks up some of the chains and throws them at the Demon King as he cores straight through them using his demon claws. He opens up his mouth, revealing many rows of sharp teeth. Deku picks up some of the dust, throwing it into his eyes. "Ah, you bitch!" As then he punches the Demon King right in the stomach. His hand going through his bones and straight into the middle, burning Deku's hand. Ah! What the fuck? Did I not tell you? Oh, that's right. My middle core is made from the burning hell flamers that keep this place alive. Sorry, it might cause minor burns. It's destroying my hand! he like grabs onto one of the bones and then breaks it off, allowing his hand out from the stomach of the Demon King. As the Demon King grabs onto his head, however, before he can go, bringing it down to the knee of the Demon King. Even though I can't see, this'll do. Breaking Deku's nose in and ricocheting it off to the left, making the nose bone just like come out of his face and putting it off to the left. Where'd you go, boy? As the Demon King had let him slip after he thought he had basically killed him. Show yourself. I can't see very well right now. God damn it. I don't have demon sensing anymore. I'm not that young. Deku had ran off to the other side of the battlefield. After all, the fans' cheers are riling up right now as they're so excited seeing the Demon King go all out for the first time in a long, long time. Both of Deku's arms burnt and his left arm completely gone. God damn it, it's just like before. He reaches down, grabbing one of the many weapons that was tossed into the arena by the contestants, all the different attractors. Are they doing this out of pity for me? Fuck you. I don't need your weapons. As he tosses them off to the left side, yelling at them. All of them look at him with concern, as they all just look at each other and then laugh at him. He says, why are they laughing? 'Cause you just let yourself be known. Oh shit! And then he just gets socked right in the face. I mean, he gets socked, okay? He immediately goes right onto the ground. Like, half of his face got punched inside. Of course, his cheekbone instantly breaking on impact. And then the other side of his face being smashed into the ground. And he cores through the earth too with this one. He is now on the ground and completely out of energy. He's breathing very hard, trying to keep himself awake right now. How am I? How am I supposed to do this? I don't know, kid. Seems like it's been so long since somebody actually survived one of my demon punches. Why do you sound so different? I'm speaking through your head. You understand, child? Yes. Why are you doing this? I just wanted to warn you about one thing. But be prepared to take a ride on the wind. What are you? Demon orb, rise. As the orb comes out from the ground, picking up Deku from his back, sending him skyrocketing up into the air to the point where nobody can see him anymore. He hits the top of the hell and splats on the top. He holds on to it as hard as he can, coursing his hand into the earth, climbing onto one of the ledges. He sits down on one of the things. I'm still bound by these hell chains to the arena ground. He feels around his back, feeling that there was actually no injuries enacted. However, his broken jaw, cheekbone, nose, and, both of his arms being shredded and his left arm being burnt off. He's like, why am I not dead? He realizes that the suit is slowly regenerating his place. And all of the suit is regenerating everything. My God, does he have that too? He marks back. God, I'm so jealous if he does. His looks so cool. Why do I have to be so powerless? Why? I've done so much. Am I cursed? Am I never allowed to be happy? Don't look down on yourself, boy. Thank you for the sentiment. No. I mean, actually, get off my mountain and get back down into the Colosseum. He turns around to see the Demon King up right next to him. Alrighty, yo, prepare for landing. Wait, no. As then he just gets kicked straight in the face and falls all the way down into the arena. However, he misses the arena and actually hits into the podium inside of these royal chambers. Golden drapes, signs of utopia, sort of glorified room that seemed edged off into the darkness by the sides of it. The drapes covered his eyes. He moved them out of the way swiftly, but it wasn't him, actually. It was an angel, a girl so beautiful that it was impossible for her to be real. But when she came into view, it was just Toga, concerned and yet smiling like she usually does. He finally came back, his eyes readjusting to the light. Toga, don't waste your voice. You don't have much of it left. Please, don't give me that. Toga, he rises his hand up to her face. You're hallucinating, Deku. I'm not. I've come to a reasonable conclusion. Like anything that you can decide on right now is going to be anything close to reasonable. Please, just recover for now. Toga, I've come to a conclusion that we were never meant to be. This world loves torturing people, and we were just another product of that. We were meant to be, yes, I take it back, we were meant. It's not that, it was that we are cursed to never truly be happy with each other. One will go insane, or one will be killed. We'll always be unsatisfied. To the ends of the earth, we will never be. We're toxic. You know that? Yes, I know, Deku. It was clear from the start. Then why go through it all? Why go through that pain? I never understood you, Toga. How do you go through all of it? How? I've sacrificed so much to be here with you. And yet I find myself lacking. Somehow. I am nothing more but a peasant boy. An ignorant peasant in front of this guy. I've tried for so long to make it work. How do you do it? How do you get through it? Be happy. That's all I want, Toga. I want us to be happy. Before it can be us, Deku. It has to be you. You have to be happy. Me? Yes. How do I? You have to be yourself. Don't give a fuck. Like I always told you. And give it your all. Remember? Or what's it all worth, right? Oh, Deku! the shades take a red tint to them. Darker and darker they get. Come out, Deku! The gallery is waiting for your execution. Come out! Or I'm gonna blow up this whole place with it. She picks him up by his left arm, which was now morphing back into a normal arm. Takes him over to the podium. He is still standing! As everybody screams out, finally! Put him back into it! But first he has something to say. God damn. Don't worry. Let her speak. Thank you. What do you mean, Toga? You still don't get it, do you, Deku? You have to love yourself. Not me. Not anyone else. We are here for ourselves. She starts yelling out to the crowd as everybody dials in. Demons all across the 9 hells start listening in. We are the inventors of our own destiny. We have to believe in ourselves, even if we don't know it ourselves. We have to understand that we can't depend on others to drag us to victory. We must be the entrepreneurs of our own destiny. We are demons. We have forsaken ourselves for centuries. Dialed ourselves down to this grotesque coliseum. And she looks over and nudges Deku's arm. We are the future. We will provide everything. And we will topple this tyrant. Hey, that's my name. Yes, it is. Now, you want to go kick his ass? Deku looks over to her and takes his arm off of her shoulder. He vaults over the sort of banister and falls down onto the ground, putting his hands onto his knees as he holds himself in a squatting position. He looks down to the ground and looks back up to him. Demon King. That's who I am, yes. What is it you want, you little shit? I have a little tiny tyrant on my hands named Toga. Bigger than you. Toga! Toga! All the guys in the background start yelling. God damn it. I'm not going to let you take everything away. Not anyone. Not you. Not Toga. And surely not the both of you. Ever. He starts, morphing back into his demon form. Horns start to split out the sides of his head, buffing out his chest. Deku remembers now why she put his arm around her shoulders. She had given him a memory about what this demon form had meant. What it requires. To unlock your demon form, you must have full confidence. Gather up all the soul dust that you need. Have everything in place. Know yourself, know your enemy. And especially, knowing yourself. What makes you tick, what makes you, you. That's what you have to understand. Because the demon form is the shape of that. What is the shape of your demon? What is the shape of your sins? Deku releases all of the energy inside of his stomach. Demons have a sort of thing that keeps them alive. Energy. That is basically their life force. you can use a certain amount of it for your life, and basically if you run out of it fully, you kind of die. I just wanted to explain that first before we continue. Deku looks up at, well, Demon King. This murderous glare. He imagines standing above all of the people. No, that isn't what he wants. What he wants is to be alone with Toga and just live. And just live. As he reflects all of his energy out of him in a sort of circle motion around him, keeping himself in this bubble, this sort of safe bubble inside of it. This life energy that continues to swarm around him, stopping him from being hurt by the Demon King, even sending the Demon King a little bit back, as the Demon King can't even do anything right now. Oh, God damn it, Deku. Not right now. I didn't tell you right now. I need to go down there. I'm sorry. Be sure to get everything. Miss Toga, what are you doing? As she jumps over the balcony, back down to Deku, gliding into his arms, going straight through the little pocket in the sandstorm that was just whipped up. She lands right in the arms of Deku. She says, oh, he's remembering everything. Everything that made him him. I might as well share what I've got. As she brings his face down and kisses him on the lips, giving him all the memories that she has of him. Nothing left. This would almost delete most of the memories that she has of him if it weren't for the supreme connection that they have by this point. Once she's done, she lifts up into the air saying, I've done all I can, as she jumps up back onto the balcony. Some of the wind scarring up her arms. However, she doesn't care. As she overlooks the storms that are being whipped up around Deku. And then all goes quiet. As then Deku opens up his eyes, but they were all glowed inside now. Toga says, who are you? I am Deku. No! Who are you really? I am the son of a cop. I am the son of a cop who was murdered, and I am the murderer of his murderer. I am the hope that had died. I am the hopeless lover to the night that will never come. And I am Izuku Midoriya. Who are you? Izuku Midoriya. His eyes flash out of the glow, coming back, calm. What do you want? Answer me. What do you want? This green glow starts to illuminate from behind his feet. I just want to live. Final answer. Final judgment. As this green glow illuminates the rest of his body, sort of covering his every single fragment of his body. When it gets to his left arm, it lets it go, completely slicing it off, replacing it with the metal arm that he had from before. As it sort of grew out of his skin, this sort of metal material. The power of life. Toga whispers to herself. Shit, it's hurting him. That's right. The memory dust. As then she turns around and sees Titan sort of putting it over the edge as this massive bottle just hits onto the top of Deku as it splits in half, and all the memory dust coats his whole entire body. The green glow starts to just illuminate even farther, completely outshining anything around him, completely covering him in this green glow. He comes out of it with this calmness in his eyes. Finally, when it all dims down, He contains all of it within his body. He opens his eyes and stares at the Demon King. No hate. No envy. No. Come, Demon King. If we must fight, we must fight. The fuck are you talking about, kid? Don't try to fool me with that angel shit! As he grabs into the ground, grinding it underneath his nails. Ah! As he releases his demon form again. Fine, kid. Full power it is if you want to act pompous. As horns start to grow out of his head, out from the sides of it, before he can finish his power up instantly. The Demon King's wind was knocked out. What the fuck? As Deku immediately punches him to the left side of his face. It immediately combusts, exploding the left side of his face, shooting him across the area. And then Deku grabs onto his neck before he can hit the wall. Do you give up, sir? Fuck you! Spitting blood into the face of Deku. As Deku looks down to it. Is this what you want from your king, people? I think not. His words were calm and soft, and yet they spoke for miles. Everybody looking to each other, whispering. But they had submitted their ballads much before that, and now it was cauterizing in the back. I see. Heathens rule heathens, then. As the Demon King stares and laughs to himself. You can never run us, 'cause you are not us. I'm not. But she is. As he tosses him straight up into the air. He says, what? And then... He's impaled by this gigantic black crystalline spear that was floating in the middle of the air, held up by Toga. Sorry, King. I think it's time you get off your fat ass and let me sit in my throne. You bitch. As then she lets go of the crystalline spear, floating down to the ground, almost gracefully, Deku says. As he falls down onto the ground, the crystalline spear even injecting itself farther into his stomach. You know. And Deku just walks over to the pile. Everybody's quiet for the moment to see if he's really dead. Deku sits down by the explosion that had happened when he had hit the ground. Toga joins him and walks over to the ground next to him. She puts her arm on the shoulder of Deku. He's not dead. How? He will never die. His will, it burns brighter than ever. As he... You thought you could kill the Demon Lord? I am immortal, you idiots! As he grabs onto the crystal spear and starts to unlodge it from his stomach. Stop! Stop it, you idiot! How many times do I have to come back here and beat some sense into you? As he gets hit on the head by a beer bottle, which shatters on top of the Demon King's head. What? Franny? What the fuck are you doing here? What do you mean, what the fuck am I doing here? Is that the bartender? As Deku looks up to her, like his sort of power dwindling away right now. Toga equally just as confused. Titan's standing next to her was like, I don't know. She said to let herself in. She knew the king. It's fine, honey. Take a candy while you're at it. Weren't you just serving me beers? Don't tell anybody about that, right? You'll do it for me. Of course. Anyways. I see that you're beating up some youngsters again. They're trying to take over our kingdom. Of course you're being all defensive about that. You want to give it down to a rightful heir, isn't that right? Yes, well, I thought that was you idiot! There is no rightful heir. Well, I thought... I'm sorry for his acts. This idiot still thinks that there's a destined one to take up both of our positions. He's been fighting for it for millennia. You'll have to excuse him. As both Deku and Toga sort of reach for their heads, sort of saying, I see. Oh, we're sorry for being so over it. Well, trying to take it for ourselves. No. You don't get it. None of you get it. One day a real challenger will come. Oh, shut up, you old bag. You're old too. Yeah, not as old as you. Either way, you two get to going. You two lovebirds. I'll deal with this old guy. Okay. As, she wheels him off, sort of holding onto his ear, saying, you know what? Next time that you try to kill some kids, why don't you invite me first before you make your decisions? I had to tell that kid to get here and everything. We are going to get a mean start talking to. As Deku's just like, well then. Toga kind of looks over to him saying, well, I guess that's settled. I guess so. Wait, it's over. It's over! And nobody died! Is that really such a surprise? Yes! Don't you understand? That's what I've been working for this whole time! We can finally be happy! She's just like, okay, calm down. We can have a celebration at the ball. Oh, that's right. We're kings and queens now. Weird, right? Well, I'm happy to be with you anyways. I'm happy to be with you too, Deku. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like I would do an episode where it's just normal daily life with them, but I mean that's going a little too far for a series that barely even 34 people still watch. So that's sort of a thing. But I do feel like that this reverted back to like a sort of understanding point as a hero. Having to accept to love yourself was a huge part of this. Breakups are horrible, but toxic people don't have to be toxic with each other. Like, you can get better. You have to work on yourself. You have to first love yourself before you can, move on and get better. That's the first step. And I'm not the perfect specimen of that fact. However, I hope that this does improve somehow your lives. I hope that this will always stay in your hearts. And the lessons that I have taught along the way stay true. Thank you. Thank you all. Goodbye. Sometime, somewhere, I will see you again. But that time is not now. Goodbye.